Press already? Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Woodbridge, which we finally referred to as the best town around. I would like to welcome Governor Murphy once again to this great town. It seems like he's here almost on a monthly basis. He's paid a whole lot of attention to us ever since he got involved in the very beginning, and he's helped us in ways I cannot even begin to describe. It would take this whole press conference for me to do that, and I know you're not here for that. But I just want to say that he has been very helpful to the township, his departments, DEP, DOT, DOE, you name it. They've been terrific with Woodbridge Township, and we really appreciate that. Governor, you picked a great spot to have this. Not only is it the home of my very good friend and one of my best friends, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, but we are a town that really understands food insecurity. We last year raised $120,000 and 110,000 pounds of food for food banks. We have 11 different food banks with amazing volunteers. And this has become one of our passions here in town, and you picked the perfect place to have this. Now, Craig Coughlin, as I said, is a terrific friend of mine, and when I think about his involvement in this, a lot of people in elected office, sadly, do things for personal interests. A lot of people in elected office do things for their business interests. A lot of people in elective office do things for their political interests. And they use their official capacity to benefit people that should not necessarily benefit from them being in office. Well, people in need and people who go to bed hungry don't have a constituency. They don't have the ability to raise money for candidates. They don't have the ability to get out the vote for candidates. They don't have the ability to get involved in politics. In fact, if Craig were to look for them, he won't even know who they are, because you can't look at a crowd of 100 people and tell which 20 didn't have dinner the night before. You can't go to a third grade class of 30 kids and see which 5 didn't have breakfast. You can't do that because we don't know who they are. But that does not stop Craig Coughlin from helping them. And that's why he is a terrific public servant, and that's why he had his peers in the Assembly vote for him 3 times to be the Speaker of the General Assembly. And I just want to congratulate both the governor and Craig for the way they work together. It is so nice to have a functional Trenton. And these 2 gentlemen are 2 of the main reasons why we have that. So I would like to now introduce a man I have just great respect for. I've known him for a while. He calls me, one time he said he's the oldest guy I've known in politics. And I'd rather he say I've known him the longest rather than calling me the oldest guy. But we met way back we met when I was working for the state, and Governor Cody started a task force, and not yet Governor Murphy was on that task force, and as the treasurer, I was with him on it. So I've known him since 2005 and have always admired his commitment to public service, and I'm thrilled with what he's doing in Trenton. And as the mayor of the 6th largest town in the state, I can tell you the government works for people in Woodbridge Township, and we really appreciate the governor. So without further ado, the great governor of the state of New Jersey, Phil Murphy.
Thank you. John, more on you in a minute, but I was sitting there beside Craig looking up, Rick, at what's behind us, wondering if someone wanders through here looking for ketchup, what are we going to do here? You got to let them in here. You got to make some money while we're... They were trying. Okay. So this is, if you're out there and you want to buy some ketchup, you're still welcome to come on up. John, I cannot thank you enough for your words and for your leadership. We go way back. I was going to use the word long-standing, which I think is a much better than implying that you and I were both in our 80s, at which point we may want to run for president. Well, that's right. But it's great to be back with you. I don't know where Carol is, but she runs, there you are, right there. You guys run a tight ship in this town. You are deserving of any of the help that comes your way from the likes of Craig and me, and it's always an incredible honor to be here. Rick, to you and your family, the Sakers are also long-standing. I'll use that as a better phrase. Your dad and mom, Richard and Laura, go way back with my wife and me. So to you and your colleagues and the UFCW team who are always here, it's an honor to be back in one of your stores. Before I acknowledge others, I have to say that this is my second event in Middlesex County today. And it's the first time I've been in the county since the murder of Eunice Dwumfor, the blessed councilwoman from Sayreville, also in your and Yvonne's district as well. Just an awful tragedy. And I'd ask you to keep her memory and her family in your prayers. I spoke to her mom and dad the other night, which you can only imagine what they're going through. In a rare, because we can't find any other example of when we've done this for a member of council, but we have done it for Eunice today up and down the state of New Jersey as her memorial is tonight in Sayreville. Our flags are at half staff in her memory and in her honor. So please keep her in your prayers. And by the way, to go halfway around the world, we are in many measures the most diverse American state, and that includes a whole lot of folks who have Turkey and or Syrian origin. Please keep those tens of thousands of people in your prayers. We're communicating, in the Turkish case at least, with the highest levels of their representation in the United States, trying to figure out ways that New Jersey can be helpful. In fact, I just literally got off a call as I walked in here. If you want to donate, we've been asked a lot. If you want to donate, how can you do it? I'll give you two websites, donate.unhcr.org. Again, that's donate.unhcr.org, or ri.org. That's Rescue International, in case you're wondering, ri.org. Please also keep them in your prayers. Again, John, thank you for hosting us. It's great to be back. You've already said a lot about Craig Coughlin. He is an extraordinary partner in government and has been now. We're in the early days of year 6 working together, and food insecurity, things like what we're doing today on SNAP, addressing food deserts, making sure our kids and their families have the meals, John, as you mentioned, that have both a breakfast and lunch. He's been transformative in that respect. And it takes a village. He can't do that alone. We've also got from the Senate side the extraordinary Majority Leader, Senator Teresa Ruiz, with us. She has been right by his side as a passionate advocate for those in need. It's great to have her in from Essex County. We have from the Assembly right behind, they've got your back, Angela McKnight and Yvonne Lopez. We're in her backyard. Great to have you ladies with us. We've got from our administration, our Human Services Commissioner, the outstanding Sarah Edelman. This is the second event she and I have done together today in Middlesex County. To her right, we've got Mark Dingleson, who is the Director of the Office of Food Security Advocate. And it's not like I'm the 56th governor. It's not, Mark's the first person to ever hold that position in the great state of New Jersey. Commissioner Director Ron Rios. I do what I'm told by Ron when I'm in Middlesex County and frankly beyond. Claribel Cortez, the outstanding surrogate. Nancy Pinkin, dear friend, clerk here in Middlesex County. And to all of the food security advocates, representatives from the New Jersey Food Council, and each and every one of you who are with us today. In a few weeks, federal pandemic-era SNAP emergency funding will end, leaving a significant gap in many families' weekly budget and putting thousands of New Jersey families at risk of becoming food insecure. And while it is true, I'm going to knock on wood here, that we have emerged, at least to a great extent, on the other side of the pandemic, and we're now living really in an endemic, the rising cost of feeding a family remains a major expense and significant concern. In November, I was thrilled to share that our budget would include $85 million in direct funding to support our state's largest food banks. That effort, again, Craig and Teresa were by my side. That effort was coupled with several other initiatives aimed at ensuring New Jerseyans have enough to eat, including expanding access to free and nutritious school breakfasts and lunches, as we've already discussed, for thousands of New Jersey school children. At the time, I shared my belief that after coming together to overcome the pandemic, there could be no greater common purpose than ensuring that every member of our New Jersey family has enough to eat, that no child goes to school hungry, that no parent goes to work hungry, and that no community lacks access to fresh and nutritious food. That common purpose has brought us together again today. To that end, in a few minutes, I will sign legislation to increase the monthly benefit under the state SNAP minimum benefits program from $50 a month to $95 a month. This increase will help cushion the reduction that thousands of families will see when the federal emergency allotment ends at the end of this month. And the increase will continue to support those families most in need. Each family's monthly allotment is dependent upon household size and income, but this legislation ensures that every family eligible for SNAP will receive at least $95 in benefits. This nearly doubles the minimum state SNAP benefit for every participating family and makes New Jersey the first state, and I believe the only state in the nation, to set an across-the-board minimum benefits. Yeah. Amen. Shamelessly fishing for applause. But there are some states that have, if you're in a certain category, you are guaranteed a minimum benefit. There are no states other than New Jersey, in a few minutes, that will offer the minimum to every eligible family. There is no doubt that families are still recovering from the challenges of the past several years. Many families who were never before in need of state benefits found themselves in a position where they needed a little or maybe even more extra help. I'm proud to take this step in our continuing efforts to ensure that no family in New Jersey need worry about putting dinner on the table. And I'm incredibly grateful to all those who worked to make this funding happen. And again, I want to recognize especially the speaker, who we'll hear from in a moment. Craig Coughlin has been a champion pushing back on food insecurity in this state for all of his days in public service. Again, I also want to thank in his chamber Angela and Yvonne. A big shout out to the majority leader in the Senate, Teresa, who we'll hear from in a minute, and to all of their colleagues. So Craig, we're here today in your backyard because of your persistent advocacy and dedication to this issue. Your son is here. Your First Lady Tish is with us. God bless you. Please help me welcome the Speaker of the General Assembly and a great leader, Craig Coughlin.
Hey, everybody. Well, thanks for coming out. We're glad we could arrange a nice spring day for everybody here in Woodbridge. Thank you, Mayor McCormick, for that incredibly kind introduction. John is truly one of my dearest friends in the world, and I mean that on a personal level, not just in political parlances. And he is one of the truly extraordinary mayors in this state of New Jersey. To be around him and to see the things that he does, the difference that he makes in his community, and the passion with which he approaches that is truly extraordinary. Mayor, thank you for having us, and thank you for being here. And Rick, thank you, and ShopRite for hosting us. You were here. You hosted us when we did the reusable bag giveaway. You're a terrific partner in the fight against food insecurity, and thank you for that. Thank you for all that you do. And thanks to my colleagues. Angela, thanks for coming all the way down from sacred soil of Hudson County, and to the best running mate anybody could hope for, Yvonne Lopez, thank you. And Teresa, thank you for coming down too. The work that you do day in and day out is terrific. And I've got a little group of folks who meet with me and talk about food insecurity. We started to do it in the beginning of this year, and so many of them are here. So, and if somebody moved, I may have missed them. But so there's Linda and Ev and Adele, and where's Lisa and Mark, and who else am I missing? Peter Barcelona is here. They have great ideas, and we're going to do terrific things because of their leadership. Thank you, Governor Murphy, for being here in Woodbridge and for all that you have done in the fight against food insecurity. You're a true champion of this. And today is a really good day. It's a good day for hungry people. It's a good day for the state of New Jersey, and it's something we really ought to boast about. It's not just about searching for applause, although we'll take it at every moment, and neither one of us is stupid. But it really is a good day, because when we started the work on prioritizing food prioritizing the fight against food insecurity, which is really what this means. We had a lot to do. New Jersey is a proud state, and there's something to do. But that grew out of a sense that there was an obligation to do something that is really more akin to a moral obligation than to a governmental function. And we're fortunate that 5 years later, we've produced the kind of momentum and action around food insecurity that other states really can only dream about. I was privileged to be invited to the President's Conference on Food Insecurity in Washington, D.C. And the things that other states were talking about as we went around and listened to them, that they thought were aspirational, we saw as things in the rearview mirror, because we've already done it. And we're going to continue to do that. We have great partners. And by the way, I've remiss. There are two people I'd like to introduce who serve on the Woodbridge Municipal Council who are here. Greg Ficarra, a dear friend and a great fighter for food insecurity, and Debbie Meehan, who helps more people in Woodbridge Township that she doesn't even know day in and day out. And two of my great champions, I have four. Two of them are here. My son Vincent, who is here, who took out some time from work. We won't tell him you're not there. And of course, somebody who is with me every instant of every day in every fight that we have, and who makes my world incredibly special, my dear wife, Letitia. Thanks, Tish, for being here. So we're in Washington, and we get to brag about all the stuff that we have done. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that because we get to show what tremendous partners we have here in the state of New Jersey, tremendous leaders who care about this. This is something you genuinely care about, and lots of people do. That's why I talk about making it a priority, because people care about it. If you ask them to get involved, if you ask them to help, they're willing to do it. That's why there's thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people who volunteer at food pantries each and every day. There's thousands of people who want to get involved. You need only to ask, but in order to do that, you have to make it a priority. And we should be proud of that, because there's been overwhelming bipartisan support. Let's give credit to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. They vote for this routinely, and they care about it deeply. And we're proud because we've made a collective commitment to people in New Jersey to be the greatest state when it comes to this. And when we do this, it's because we are a great state, and because it wanted to work for everyone. And this is truly doing that. Together, we've put forth more than 30 bills. The governor has signed into effect 30 laws designed to help healthy and nutritious foods on people's plates, from children to college students to seniors and everyone in between. It's something that you come to understand as you get involved. I didn't realize how many people in college were food insecure. My kids, we sent them off and worried about the freshman 15. You remember that? Because they had an unlimited meal plan. Not everybody's in that place, and the demographics of people who go have really changed. Because of that kind of leadership, because of leadership like Governor Murphy, partners like Senate President first Sweeney and now Scutari, and Majority Leader Ruiz in the Senate, we've invested tens of millions of dollars providing record contributions to aid our food banks and pantries on the front lines. That's a big deal, folks. We put in more money in 1 year than we had in perhaps in the lifetime of the last budget, $85 million. $85 million. Those are unprecedented numbers anywhere else in this country, because we care. And we've worked to make SNAP more accessible, because that's one of the other challenges. In fact, Mark Dingleson, who ran Kumac in Patterson before he came to work to be the food advocate, I recognized it when I was up there to visit the place, that what they have is folks in the office at the food pantry, which is the first place we encounter people who are food insecure. And they have people there to help them fill out SNAP applicants. Now, I was just in Perth Amboy, where a local restaurant here had donated some pizzas over there. And the truth of it, I was talking to the folks who there do the same thing. It takes about an hour to fill out a SNAP application. It takes an hour for a person who knows what the hell they're doing to fill out a SNAP application. So imagine somebody who's homeless. Imagine somebody who doesn't have the resources to be able to do that. Imagine somebody who's not sophisticated enough. Heck, I'm relatively smart, and it takes me forever to fill out applications online. Imagine being more intimidated. Imagine not having a computer. And by doing that, by having somebody there who will walk you through it and take that hour and get it done, you've helped to change people's lives. And that's what this is all about. It's about taking them when we first meet them at a food pantry because they're food insecure, and then moving people across the line. Making sure they get the public benefits that they deserve, making sure we teach them how to become educated, educating them about nutritious food, moving on to the next step after that to make sure that I'm helping them find their way in the world, and finally get them to the point where they're no longer food insecure. And when we get to that point, we'll have changed their lives. And we change enough lives, we'll change the world. That's what we're going to do because we have the commitment in New Jersey. You know, we prioritize that, and the governor alluded to the fact that Mark is the first food insecurity advocate, and I shorthand it for you, in the state. That's true. He's also the first and only food insecurity advocate in the country. It's another thing we have to be proud of. We've been lucky to earn ourselves the recognition throughout the country. The nation's leading food research organization, a nation calls New Jersey a nationwide leader. They called us a beacon of light. But we can't and we won't stop now. And that's why today is so special. That's why today is so important. Because right here in Woodbridge, we have 1,400 families. Peter will tell you, he runs the food assistance programs here in the city, or in the township, serving 1,400 people in the township of Woodbridge. The number pre-pandemic was 600. Put those trends together on a statewide level, and you can see why there's a compelling need to do what we're about to do. Add to that the combination of inflation and the federal pandemic relief coming to an end, and you can see that the problem can become staggering. And with those SNAP benefits adding at the end of the month, it becomes clear that we needed to do something urgently. And so, today, we will do just that. We come together to sign the bill, to raise the minimum from $50 to $95 because it helps people. 46,000 people, recipients, will be benefited by the action that the governor's about to take in a couple of minutes. By the way, it was about $23 before we got started with this. It went to $50 in January, and we're moving it now. So you can see when there's a problem, we respond to that. And that doesn't just happen. It happens because we have great leaders and we have great partners. It happens because Governor Murphy is willing to say, let's make sure we do this. Let's stick up for everybody in this state, even the people who don't have a great voice, even the people who don't have a constituency, even the people who don't show up at political events and raise money. They matter too. So today, the governor will do something historic and, I dare say, incredibly powerful and meaningful. Thank you, Governor, for doing that. Thank you for being such an incredible partner in that. Thank you, Senator Ruiz, for your endless commitment to people who do that. Thanks to my co-sponsors. You know, we know overwhelmingly that a better, nutritious, food-secure person is stronger. And today, we act on that knowledge and demonstrate, once again, something we ought to be proud of, that New Jersey is a beacon of light and hope for people who struggle with food insecurity. Thank you all for appreciating that. Thank you all for coming. It's a privilege to be with all of you today.
Craig, so well done. I want to echo one thing you said. I could echo many, but you mentioned the contrast when you go to a gathering, a national gathering. I'm the chair of the National Governors Association. I'm headed to Washington tonight. You get to pretty quickly, including across the aisle, compare where we are versus where everybody else is. Sometimes it's a bummer. I mean, we didn't do licensure for law enforcement in New Jersey. We were one of the last states in America to do that, but we've finally done it, and it works for both law enforcement and the community. This is one area of many where you're going to say, holy cow, I can't believe they're still thinking about doing something that we did a year ago or 5 years ago. And so today is another one of those sparkling examples. So, Craig, we wouldn't be here without you. It takes a village. It takes two chambers to get a bill to my desk. You mentioned Senate President Scuteri, and before him, Senate President Sweeney. In absentia, we thank them for their leadership. But we got with us today, live and in person. Please help me welcome another outstanding leader, the Majority Leader, Senator Teresa Ruiz.
I'm forgetting the time. Is it good morning or good afternoon? Either way, it's always a good day in Middlesex County, and especially in the township of Woodbridge. To all the elected officials and to the mayor. I'm from Essex County, and I do not need to say this, but I have a lot of family in Middlesex, and I have to tell you that I met Mayor McCormick when I was a new senator under Corzine, Governor Corzine, and then for a brief moment, and then he came over and switched his capacity. Your leadership and your commitment to the residents here is extraordinary. As someone who sees it in a very tangible way, I am just so proud because government can work on behalf of people. You are demonstrating that here. We demonstrated in Essex County government. And so thank you for welcoming a North gal here into the township of Woodbridge. To the governor, who in the last couple of days, quite frankly, we've made some extraordinary announcements. I was with La Casa de Don Pedro last week talking about the expansion of insurance for all kids, cover all kids in the state. And today we're making another investment in human capital. So when I graduated from college, I taught in a child development center, and I had a class of 4-year-olds. And I would serve breakfast in the morning. We provided breakfast and lunch, and I could see that there were 1 or 2 kids in the group that would ask for 2 or 3 breakfasts. That's quite a bit of a lot of food for a 4-year-old, and you quickly as an adult realize that something is happening in the house. They were not eating perhaps the night before. So you know how it is when you're the head of a classroom. Before there was those backpack programs, you would set aside whatever was left over and make sure that those children were fed. How critically important it is to the academic success of that child. A child who doesn't eat and is tired, you cannot expect them to function properly at their best capabilities in the classroom. I say this fundamentally because in his absentia, my colleague, Senator Vitale, and I, and probably the Speaker, and probably some of the Assembly members who are here, who are fearless advocates on behalf of humanity, never mind anything else, but fearless advocates on behalf of humanity, we took a SNAP challenge several years ago. And they gave me this allotment of money, and I went shopping, and it was extraordinarily difficult. At the beginning, everyone's excited, as Senators Cunningham and I and Vitale would share recipes online because you had to make ends meet. And so I was over lentils as a vegetarian and peanut butter, and I was grumpy and tired and just quite frankly embarrassed at what we were offering residents who were most in need. That it was cheaper to buy a pack of processed white bread than something that fundamentally would fill me for longer for the extent of the day. That's dating back nearly over a decade ago. And what we've done in New Jersey has leaned into this space. The Speaker spoke to this in a very poignant way. We're leading the pathway. A reporter asked me last week on the Senate floor and said, are you concerned about this number in the budget? And of course, as a budget member, anything that's going to require a conversation about it will always raise an eyebrow. I said, I'm not as much concerned as I am proud to say that we're making an investment in New Jersey human capital. That is the greatest return anyone can do. The Speaker said this is a moral responsibility, but most importantly, this is what public servants should and can do. When I'm shopping now, and I was one of those that just would go down the aisles and throw everything into the cart, when I'm stopping in the aisles and actually looking at prices, and I have the ability to go grocery shopping, that clearly sends a message to me that we have to do better. And so we've done these extraordinary things. We eliminated the reduced category for families in our lunch program. The Speaker raised the capacity to include more families so that they would be covered for free lunch programs. We're looking at the nutritional packages of what we're offering our students in our free breakfast and lunch programs. We did breakfast after the bell. We're doing everything, and today just signifies and leans into that. And quite frankly, I did nothing on this bill. So I am one of those colleagues that I will admit wholeheartedly, this is so aligned with my public service agenda, but the Speaker reached out to me and said, would you support this? And I read the synopsis, and it said it will be an honor and a pleasure to do this. So for that, I am indebted and grateful for the work that you do and for considering me a partner and an advocate in this space. When you think about $95 a month, and quite frankly, some of these people, this will be the only allotment that they get to spend for food. You're talking about those on the very fringe, individuals who potentially are working, but for the most part, seniors and disabled homes who are on a very fixed income. A fixed income that never gets raised because our poverty level was set in the 60s and hasn't been risen on the federal government side. A fixed income that still has New Jersey getting reimbursed on our lunch programs in the same way that other states whose cost of living is phenomenally much lower than it is here. A fixed income that hasn't met the inflation needs today. New Jersey said, we're not going to wait for anybody else. The speaker said, I'm not waiting for anybody else. I'm going to be sure that that mother who has to make the decision whether to pay PSE&G and or rent or put food on the table would at least have a little sense of ease during this time frame. The pandemic was an awakening for so many. For so many of us, we knew what our families were dealing with, and whether it was access to broadband, access to food, access to supermarkets. And we did a lot of great things during that time frame. Obviously, the increase to SNAP benefits, the accessibility to sign up instead of going in person, or we can recertify on the telephone, which has been an extraordinary thing for families who are dealing with so many other things. And most importantly, we understood that the pandemic did not deal us issues, it elevated issues that were permeant and persistent in so many communities. You do not know who is hungry. It could be the person who sits right next to you in your office. We have to remove the stigma away from that. We have to encourage families to fill out their applications because we get more money for those reimbursements. We have to push to universal free lunch here in the state, which it might take several years, but a commitment that we should do so. And I'll share this. I got an email from a Middlesex family. There's a sheriff's officer and a teacher. And she sent an email saying, can you give me the status of when New Jersey will reach universal free lunch program? And so I have a call into her to say, I think we're making inroads into that, but not quite yet. But you think about that household. It is a professional in law enforcement and a professional public servant in the classroom. And they have 3 kids. And she's finding it difficult to pay for lunch for those 3 families are struggling not only in New Jersey but in this entire country. And unlike the rhetoric and the hypocrisy and the lack of respect that you saw last night, New Jersey across aisles, New Jersey across party houses, New Jersey, the legislature in tandem and in partnership with the governor is saying we're stepping up because good government is great for people.
Not a lot to say to add to that. That was really powerful, Teresa. Thank you, and bless you, and thank you for coming today and your leadership. I mentioned her earlier. We've got 2 extraordinary, we're almost there. We got 2 more extraordinary speakers, in this case both from our administration. Please help me welcome the Commissioner of the Department of Human Services, Sarah Edelman.
Good afternoon. It is great to be here. Thank you, Mayor McCormick, and to the ShopRite of Woodbridge for hosting us today. Thank you to everyone gathered here in support of families. I will say it again. Once again, New Jersey is leading the way. We are the first state to set a minimum SNAP benefit, ensuring that New Jerseyans who rely on SNAP food assistance benefits, seniors, disabled individuals, families will receive at least $95 in food assistance each month. On behalf of the families we serve at the Department of Human Services, I am immensely grateful to Governor Murphy, Speaker Coughlin, Majority Leader Ruiz, and our legislative partners for your help to provide this critical funding for New Jerseyans who are facing the rising cost of groceries as our federal SNAP emergency allotments come to an end nationwide. If you are hearing all of this and wondering what it all means, what is changing, why this is so urgent and important right now, here's the deal, here are the numbers. Since very early in the COVID-19 public health emergency, the federal government has been providing states with additional funding to help families afford groceries. People lost income, they were home more, needing meals at home more, schools and senior centers were closed during lunch hours, grocery supplies became more limited, there were many factors, and people needed more help. Here in New Jersey, our department has been receiving an additional $75 million per month on average each month to distribute in extra SNAP benefits to nearly 400,000 families, nearly 400,000 households in New Jersey who receive SNAP benefits. The average household during this time was receiving an additional $191 a month in extra COVID SNAP assistance. Over the last 3 years, my department, Human Services, has provided New Jerseyans with more than $2 billion in extra SNAP assistance, and that is now coming to an end. As we transition out of the public health emergency, these extra COVID benefits are scheduled to end at the end of this month, and households would be returning to their normal federal benefit amounts. During COVID, the lowest monthly amount any senior or household would receive was $282. But as this program comes to an end nationwide, those seniors, those households, will fall from $282 to $23 a month. Now, we understood these extra SNAP benefits were temporary COVID measures, but we also recognize the significant impact this will have on New Jerseyans who have benefited from greater assistance over the last 3 years. This impact is massive, and it won't only be felt by those households. It will also put incredible pressure on New Jersey's food banks and food pantries, our senior centers, and other social service providers who will struggle to keep up with this additional demand. And it will be felt by our food retailers, like the ShopRite we're standing in today, who will stand to lose the $75 million in extra revenue that's going into our grocery stores each month, because those groceries can no longer be purchased or afforded. So because of the law signed by Governor Murphy today, my department will be able to provide all households eligible for SNAP with a minimum $95 monthly benefit instead of that $23 that people in every other state will see. 48,000 New Jersey households will benefit from the $95 monthly minimum benefit, and this new $95 benefit will begin next month in March. I want to take a moment to specifically thank two individuals here in the room with me today, Natasha Johnson, our Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Family Development, and Larry Brash, our Deputy Director in DFD. Natasha and Larry have worked around the clock with their team to make sure that as this law goes into effect, it will be seamless for the families we serve. As the extra federal COVID benefits come to an end this month, that $95 will be in place beginning next month. So thank you very much to your team's hard work to make that happen. For households with SNAP, our department is mailing notices this week to all SNAP households advising them of their new SNAP benefits beginning in March, so families should please be on the lookout. Families can check their benefit detail online or through our EBT mobile app or by calling our 800 number. And we need the assistance of everyone in this room to help get the word out so that folks are prepared when they go to the grocery store next month. So we have flyers and materials on our website in multiple languages at njsnap.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. njsnap.gov, fairly straightforward. Just give you one quick story. I mentioned there are two events that we did today in Middlesex County, Sarah and I, and they're both nation-leading, only of its kind in America. One is this. The other is a program called Arrive Together, with the support of our great leaders in the legislature. Yvonne was with me as well. This will be in our budget, and this will come to assuming it passes, it will come to every community in the state, and that is the following. If you're having a mental health crisis and someone calls in to 911, you will get in an unmarked car and in plain clothes a member of law enforcement and a mental health professional. And it's an extraordinary, game-changing. Again, only in Jersey, the only state in America that does that. Sarah, thank you. Last but not least, we've spoken about him. He is the first director of the Office of Food Security Advocate in New Jersey, in the country. Please help me welcome Mark Dingleson.
Good afternoon. I'm actually really grateful that I get to follow the commissioner because she's level set for us the work that's ahead and the challenges that many families are going to be experiencing. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. As we go into this work, my office will be collaborating with the different departments. We'll be working with the food banks. We'll be working with frontline organizations to make sure we're doing everything we can to support families. I want to say thank you to Mayor McCormick for hosting us on this truly historic day for New Jersey. I mean that. A historic day for New Jersey. I want to say thank you to Governor Murphy, as always, for your leadership that continuously makes New Jersey one of the leaders in the country in food security work. When I was working on the front lines, especially at the height of the pandemic, and my team and I were wondering, is anybody going to come and help us? Is anybody going to be here for us? It was Governor Murphy and Mrs. Murphy who showed up more than once to ask us what we needed and how they could help. I want to say thank you to Speaker Coughlin for your continued partnership and passion for this work. When Speaker showed up on the front lines to meet me for the first time and learn about this work, he listened with great intention and asked questions purposefully to understand how this is not just about giving people food, it is about providing dignity to people that need our help. I want to say thank you to Senator Ruiz. I told her before we started, I'm so looking forward. I've been wanting to meet her, and I'm so looking forward to working with her. I'm one of those guys that I'm like, hey, let's work together. You can attest to everybody that's sitting behind you. That's totally what I'm like. So you're going to be hearing from me a lot. So thank you to you and to all of our legislative partners for all that you do and for your partnership in this work. And I want to say thank you to Commissioner Edelman and to her team for the way you've welcomed me into this work and for the way that you guys care about this work. And many of them are not here, but I feel moved to say thank you to the frontliners, to the people working at the food banks, to the people working at the food pantries, to that pastor who's making his church help people, to that nurse that's working at the hospital right now wondering how to make families healthier, to that forklift operator, to that nonprofit professional that's in this fight for the long haul. Thank you. My friends, many of you have heard me say, true food security exists when all people at all times have physical, economic, and social access to safe, healthy, nutritious food. As the needs of our communities continue to rise, I confidently stand here, shoulder to shoulder with our leaders here in New Jersey, and I'm full of hope because of the many ongoing multi-sector efforts taking place in New Jersey to create that physical access. There are multiple, I promise you, multiple innovative efforts to create healthy corner stores, to support small businesses, to work with the nonprofit and health sectors to innovate in the food access space so that we're able to provide families that physical access. But I also stand here in front of you incredibly inspired. Truly, one of my friends, I texted and I said, I can't believe this $95 SNAP minimum benefit is a thing. I'm so emotional. This is what I look like when I'm emotional. And I'm inspired and I'm moved because of this momentous day where we are signing this bill. I can attest to how daunting I thought it was going to be to create a $95 SNAP minimum benefit. I can testify to how through the partnership and collaboration of our leaders here today, New Jersey has once again showed the rest of the nation how to lead the way in creating economic access to healthy food. This bill is going to mean so much to so many people, and I'm truly in awe of what New Jersey is able to accomplish together. But let me end with this. Today is not the end of the work, but the beginning. Creating social access to healthy food means building and empowering families and their communities that need our collaborative efforts the most. It means building communities of practice where we are working together on things like nutrition education, economic mobility, and healthy school meals. Collaborative work has led us to this momentous day. So let us continue to work together, to listen to each other, and to listen to the communities that need us. And let's continue to make a more food-secure New Jersey. Thank you.
Mark, really impressive. As they say in Hollywood, it's a wrap. I'm going to walk over here and sign this. Rick, I want to thank you again for hosting us. Craig and I have agreed, I now realize what's going on here, to stay back after class and take the stickers off all of your signs. With that, let's go. Give you this, of course, I can't see a thing, so I'll pretend I can see this. I'll put my glasses on. Okay, thumbs up. Yeah, okay. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, so this is Assembly Bill number 5086. The sponsors, many sponsors, but 3 of them are with us today. Craig Coughlin, Angela McKnight, Yvonne Lopez. Bless you. 4 of them. Teresa Ruiz in the Senate. And the synopsis is increases minimum monthly benefit under the state SNAP minimum benefit program for $50 to $95 and authorizes DHS, which is Sarah's operation, to increase program benefit amount. Simple, straightforward, transformative. With that, first pen goes to our host mayor, John McCormick. Mac Thanks for hosting us.
If you don't mind, Governor, I'd like to pass this along to Peter Barcelona, who is the conscience of food insecurity in Woodbridge. And
Peter, come on up. Well done, Peter. Stay up and hang out with us. The man to my right, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Woodbridge's own Craig Coughlin. Senate Majority Leader, Senator Teresa Ruiz. Commissioner Sarah Edelman. These are not Bic pens. These are the real Phil Murphy pens, in case you're out there watching. Mark Dingleson, the Director of the Office of Food Security Advocacy. Assemblywoman Angela McKnight, all the way in from Hudson County. Assemblywoman right here, we're in her backyard, Yvonne Lopez. Yvonne. We're going to give this in absentia. Where are you, Martel? We're going to give this one to Assemblywoman Annette Quijano. Let's give it for Annette. We're rounding third and heading home. Representing the New Jersey Food Council, its President and CEO, Linda Doherty. Linda, great to have you. Congratulations. 8? Still the 8. Director of Advocacy for AARP New Jersey. We do a lot with her. Ev Liebman. Ev, great to have you. And last but not least, the Senior Director of Policy and Advocacy at the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Adele LaTourette. Well done. With that, It is still a wrap, right? This is, and big, and Mark said it best, this is a historic day. This is the law of the land. There you go. That's a lousy little cover. I guess this will be covered. Hold on. Much better. Thank you, everybody.